Thank you, Chris. And magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako si Beaufils, ang British na ambassador sa Pilipinas, and I am delighted to be here with all of you in a place that smells so delicious. I'm sure it's making you all very hungry as it is me. But I want to start, as Chris said, by thanking you all for making the time. Thank you to government representatives, of course, to private sector representatives, importers, exporters, meat aficionados, colleagues from the UK, the embassy team, and of course the Chamber and the UK Agriculture and Horticultural Development Board, AHDB. And really, really pleased to be here today. As Chris mentioned earlier, UK-Philippines trade is in a really great place. Our bilateral trade is higher than it's ever been, at £2.9 billion a year. But we've also had exciting developments over the course of the year and are looking to more exciting developments. So one exciting development that you may have heard about is that we launched with Secretary Pascual earlier this year the Developing Countries Trading Scheme, which will further promote Filipino exports to the UK by reducing tariffs and enabling 99% of exports to be tariff-free to the UK. We are working with the government here in the Philippines to develop a JETCO, and we are indeed working with the government to develop a new G2G arrangement for our bilateral trade. So lots happening in this space, and lots of ambition, and quite frankly, lots of interest from British businesses in terms of doing more business with the UK, whether that be on exports or imports. So a really exciting time for us. But at the heart of that, of course, is agriculture and indeed meat. Chris said that meat is a very important area as part of our bilateral trade, and he's absolutely right. UK meat exports represent the third most exported UK commodity to the Philippines, which is really quite significant. And the Philippines is the third largest export market to the UK after the EU and China. Chris said it was the second, I think it's the third. Either way, it's really, really high and very significant when you consider the size of the EU and China as export markets, and the Philippines is just after that for four. So I want to start by saying thank you to all of you for making this trade so successful and being part of this success story. And we want to continue to work with that, to build on what we've done together and to really go from strength to strength together. And the embassy fully supports the vision of the Chamber in making that happen. The relationship around meat exports is growing. It's demonstrated by the recent visit to the Philippines of the UK's Chief Veterinary Officer. She came to learn more about Filipino practice and preventive measures, but also to talk a little bit about what's going on in the UK from a veterinary perspective. And then, likewise, the embassy hosted the Philippines Chief Veterinary Officer in the UK in a reverse visit, which I think again demonstrates the interest at both sides of each other. And I want to reiterate some of the messages that our own Chief Veterinarian relayed when she was here. She talked about how robust and science-driven our practices are, and in particular our African swine fever preventive measures and strict control measures that she highlighted for consideration to the Philippines government. When diseases are detected amongst UK livestock, the Philippines should be reassured in the UK's capability and leadership to address these and to allow the unfettered flow of exports. We as the embassy are proud to continue to share this best practice in order to maintain the confidence and trust between the Philippines and the UK and our respective agricultural trade authorities. That's really important, and I wanted to put that out there as well. Chris was telling you earlier that he and the Chamber have done a lot to further push for trade investment liberalization measures, and about the need that we feel is right to maintain, reduce their tariffs on meat exports. We think it's absolutely right. As the embassy, we're monitoring this very carefully. We think that this trade in food and drinks is an avenue for trade and business, but also, of course, to maintain Philippines' food security. And this is really important in the context of broader food security challenges across the world, and indeed in terms of some of the challenges that we know exist here in terms of nutrition. We believe that competitive, true, open, fair practices are essential to ensure that groceries and markets across the country have ample supplies for all these goods and for them to be sold at affordable, competitive prices for all consumers to benefit. So we will continue to make this a priority and to engage with the Chamber and with all of you to make this happen. I want to close by referring to the new Agricultural Secretary that was mentioned earlier. We're delighted to have an Agricultural Secretary. It's a relationship that I think is going to continue to take us from strength to strength. We're lucky to have in the new Secretary someone who's very keen to further support trade and further support the relationship between our two countries. So I think while we're celebrating, of course, meat exports today, we can look forward to more exciting celebrations of this kind in the years to come, as we will undoubtedly continue to grow together. Thank you very much.